Well, hi guys and girls, Emma again. Welcome back to today's view, which is the bottom side of a roller. It had a bit of a leak here when we were at Glenray. It's not the world's best sort of situation, but it's not as major as expected. What's happened today, one of the things that we were going to do is pull this cover off and the other inspection cover and have a look inside the tender and see why it's got a leak. It's already been welded up once. On having a look inside, the tank is remarkably good actually. It's still showing most of the galvanising and it's probably in pretty good condition. So it doesn't really explain why we've got basically a leak here, which you've got that ugly piece of weld here, and then there's a hole right here. And there's a hole sort of right here in the weld. Now the reason is that the dipstick drops down from the top, and the brass dipstick touches on the metal there and bounces up and down, and it's basically worn a hole in the metal, in the steel, which is a bit strange, but that's what's happened, because when you lift it, and the dipstick just sits nicely in the hole. So I think our job is to get with the grinder and grind all that off nice and neat and tidy, and fix what needs to be fixed and weld over the top of it and grind it again and paint it, and hopefully have that problem fixed. We can put all these covers back on. This has dried out pretty quick because it's a nice warm day, but we were here laying in a puddle for most of the morning while this cover was coming off, because there's still a couple of inches in the tender. But that's what the underside of a fowler roller looks like. If we have a look over here, this is the cover off the bottom. It's got a very ugly looking plate in the middle of it with a riser and 3 studs to hold it in place, and a plug. I'm not sure why it has that. It seems a bit of a mystery, because it's, if you turn it over, there's not a big hole in the bottom. There's only a hole big enough for a plug. So maybe someone stripped the plug hole and put that on it to fix it. I'm not sure. Not sure what the story is, but that's a bit strange. We've sort of pulled the bolts out, and these are all the inspection bolts. Most of these are all 9/16. Why anyone thought that cover needed 12 9/16 studs and nuts on it, I don't know. And they're all pretty much the same size, except for one of them, which is undersized. Somewhere. Really, I think it's that one is the new Whitworth size. Yep, instead of the old Whitworth size. So might have to replace that at some point. We can go back on for now. The others are all post-war Whitworth. Bit ugly. We need to get it in at some point next time we take it off. Probably. If there's much we can really see in here, but this tender tank's not terrible. There's a injector pickup there, and must be a pump pickup on the other side. No, this could be the injector pickup and the pump pickup. I'm not sure. This must be the pump pickup over there. There's a couple of baffles in the top there, and there's a brake rod running sideways across there too. So that's what the inside of a tender looks like. There's a torch in the bottom there, and it's not in terrible condition. I've seen a lot of worse tanks inside, I think. There you go, mate.
So I buggered off with Emma's camera while she's doing shit. I mean things. Been told I'm not allowed to swear. Giving the roller a bit of a steam clean. And we thought, well, why not utilise the road here. Give it a bit of a run. So we've made our own steam cleaning wand and hooked it up to the blowdown. And she's busy doing that, so this whole thing seems to be handling it pretty well. She's running pretty flat out. Trying to keep as much water in it. I don't know if you can see that. Trying to keep as much water in it as we can. We got the fire from hell in there, and it probably need a bit more. And it seems to be sort of keeping up. Seems to be keeping up, and yeah, he's still doing a damn good job cleaning off years of muck and shit. Sorry, there I go again, swearing. They ban me from YouTube. No wonder I don't make any bloody videos. Seem to be losing pressure there, don't we? You've broken it. Oh, I better go. Emma's broken my shit.
Sunday morning, and by some miracle we got the ash pan out without getting covered in ashy charcoaly water, which is excellent. We've been doing a bit of steam cleaning and this thing's come up quite a lot cleaner. Still a bit more to do. I've had the ash pan off this morning, and we've started working on the tender repair. We've still got the doors off. We're trying a couple of new anodes to go in here. These are about worn out. Go in those two little holes there. Dan's fired up the Roby again. We cooked breakfast. Get some pressure up. We might finish steam cleaning this and steam cleaning last night's camp oven, which is over here full of pan fat. This is quite a lot better than it was, but it still needs quite a bit more work as far as cleaning, and we could go at this every time we come down for the next 2 years and still not get on top of it, I think, but it's going to get a bit better each time. There's a lot of yellow paint on it from the playground. Have a look, a lot of red paint on the border. I'd very much like to get all that painted at least black or something at some point. see how we go with that. So that's a lot cleaner. I'm not saying it's clean, and saying it's clean is probably, you know, a bridge too far to say that it's ever clean, but certainly you can see the metal and it's less likely to rust out while it's in storage. So we've got that out. We've still got to put this one back in. It goes in underneath the tender, and I've got this one here. Which needs to screw back. It is screwed back on. And of course this is where the ash band sort of inadvertently spilt. This side of the roller is not all that much cleaner. It's certainly a little bit better, but it's not what you would call clean by any means yet. And this is all still pretty manky in here. And this side, there's a fair bit of grease on the smoke on the firebox still. Just a bit at a time. We'll get at that and we'll get to it. I think I spent about probably 4 hours on the steam cleaner this weekend, so this side's certainly a whole lot better. This hub's going to come off as a scarifier hub on this corner, and if you notice, or if you have a bit of a look, see it sticks out past the wheel, which isn't a useful thing at all, but it's coming off, and the diff lock pin's going in at some point if we possibly can. There is probably there's a cutout for a pin there, or a housing for a pin here. Whether it actually had a diff lock pin in it, or whether it actually lines up with anything in the diff is another thing. I'm guessing there's probably, it's under here, so there's probably something in there, but it doesn't actually go through and knock the diff right through. So that's something that needs doing at some point, and hopefully we'll get another cover, something like this cast, and make a provision to put a pin in it, something like this, with a bolt to lock it in place, which is the drive pin off the axle for this wheel. And this wheel drives right through the axle. Oh, the axle drives, and then so the axle drives with the winding drum, and then this pin's locked to the axle with this, or this wheel's locked to the axle with this pin, if that makes any sense. The diff wheel's locked to the axle, and the other one with the differential, if this spins, the other one will go backwards or it'll stop. So like a standard car differential. But if you want both wheels to drive at once, there should be a pin like this on the other side, which goes in a hole, and locks the diff together, both halves of the diff together, and then we've got both. This wheel drives, now the wheel's got to drive. So at some point I'd like to get that back to original, or back to working again. I don't think it's been working since these wheels were put on it back in the 30s sometime, probably, I'm guessing. It is only a guess. These are actually just bolted on here, and the bolt holes are here already, so it's probably worth getting some 10mm plate, like 500 wide or whatever they are, rolled up to fit on here, and bolting them in place, and then getting them vulcanised is probably the best way to deal with that. So it's the view from where I am most of the day, but this plate's back on. There's one nut which is post-war, the rest are all pre-war nuts, so that means you need 2 spanners to do the job, and a new nut there would be fantastic. This is the bottom of the water tender, by the way. Looking at this, it's a bit ugly. We're in pretty close there and there's not a lot of light, and I apologise for that. Let's try and get a bit further away. Here. So, see there's a hole there. Point with that finger. There could be another hole in here somewhere. This had a huge mound of turkey dirt style weld on it, about an inch thick, which I've ground off, and it doesn't look terrible now, but we're not sure how much it's actually holding, how much of it holds. But that's exactly where the dipstick lines up, and if you put the dipstick back in, you can actually see that banging on where that hole, so you see the end of it in there. So that needs to be patched or welded up. We've spent 4 hours steam cleaning this, and if you look up under here, which is there's still a whole lot of dirt and stuff on here, and there's a few missing bolts. This shaft here is, oh my gosh, what's the story here? Why have we got it? Try again. This shaft here is the brake hanger, or brake actuated shaft. It's got a crank on the end of it, and then your brake shoe, wooden brake shoe here, which runs on the wheel. There's a bracket there that you can see. Oh my gosh, I can't reach anywhere. With only one bolt in it. And there's another bracket here on the side that hasn't got a bolt in it at all. So they're all things, there's still dirt caked around here everywhere. So basically it's a matter of cleaning it, steam cleaning it until you get it right, and it's going to take a few years, a few times anyway. But as a whole, a lot of it's looking a whole lot cleaner than it was. Look it up through the basket and the canopy there, past the step and the water filler. As you can see, there's not a lot of clearance here, and I managed to get this plate back on. Pretty happy about that. And the other one's on the back. It's just a matter of fixing this up. Next job is to get the ash band on, which goes under there on those 6 pins. So we'll get that in there and get it all positioned up. And put the toggles back in it, and that'll be another job done this afternoon. We've steam cleaned through all the tubes and steam cleaned the grate and the firebox, etc. Certainly looking a lot better, but still more to go. Anyway, it's the end of a weekend. I don't know what we've really achieved. We've had the ash band off, we've had the tender doors out and inspected the inside and found some surprisingly good metal. We've tightened up the damper bolt that's in the hinge that's been playing up, not particularly sealing for the last little while. We've taken a couple of fittings home. The blowdown fitting's missing, and this new simpling valve fitting's missing too. Goes up there on the end of that rod. Also taken the sideboards or the sideboards on the canopy home to paint this time, I think. It's quite a lot cleaner and it's not quite as sticky as it was. Another 3 or 4 goes like that and it might be ready to put some black paint on. I don't know. Seems like we've made a little bit of progress, but it's slow and steady. Another little crazy innovation that we've made here is this little light chain that runs from that tap up there down to the catch on the fire hole, and then you can just pick it up and open it from here or from the other side without having to climb up and shift all the junk and burn your fingers, and you can just kick it shut and hold the handle up rather than having to bend down. And yeah, it's just a bit of a pain of a place for a fire door, so let's fix that nicely. We've discovered that there's a water line plate behind the gauge glass. Haven't put the gauge glass protector back on, but we will in the next little while. We've freed those 2 test cocks up. I really would like to get them back sorted out, and I've got to take that middle plug out and put some thread tape back on it and put it on, because we've had that out this trip, this weekend. Apart from that, this is what colour you end up working on a roller for a weekend. I have washed in between, but that's what colour I am at this point. I'm going to go and have a wash, towel over my shoulder, and call it a night. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It's probably a very good video to watch if you ever think of owning a steam engine, big or small, because this is the sort of crappy jobs that you end up doing all the time. But it's certainly looking a lot nicer than it was. Be kind to each other, and more soon, guys and girls.